If you work hard and believe in yourself, you can accomplish anything, right? Wrong. That's bull. We hear it at the parks quite a bit. And it always comes from parents and folks that didn't play at the next level, that didn't play at a very high level. They'll say, well, little Johnny, you got to work hard and believe in yourself and you can do it. That's wrong. And that may work in other things. That may work in other parts of life. That might work in jobs. That might work in other stuff. But for high achieving athletes, that is a lie. You have to stop telling the kids this. And I'm going to go into this, why this is bullshit, and you should never tell them this. And I'll tell you what to do instead. First, let me say it's something this is something we hear because I think people regurgitate it from movies like Rudy and movies like that. And you see it in books and these think positive books and all this kind of stuff. If you can believe it, you can do it. And I'm going to break this into two parts. I'm going to talk about the believe in yourself part. I'm going to talk about that first. And then I'm going to talk about the work hard stuff. Then I'm going to bring it all together so it makes sense. The belief part. Let me ask you a question here. How far is belief from delusion? See, belief and delusion need to be different things. Delusion is just fantasy. Belief, this is the vernacular that we use in sports, belief is based off evidence. Okay, let me go to this one over here. Delusion, fantasy, what I wish might happen. My daughter believed that there was a guy in a red suit that would come down in December and put presents under this tree. My daughter believed that if she lost a tooth, she put it under a pillow and some fairy would come and replace it with money. She believed in April there's a giant bunny that goes around the whole world and places eggs so kids can find them. That's what she believed in when she was little. And of course, as parents, you promote this because it's in good fun. And there's a point at which, though, she stopped believing in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny. Why? There's no evidence of them. Oh, well, when they were little, oh, sure, they left the eggs, and they left $1, and left the presents, and he's got the footprints and the flower and all. Yeah, there's a point at which you're going, no, that's not how that works. And it's not how that works. Now, I'm not saying don't treat Christmas like Christmas or ruin the Tooth Fairy for your kids. I'm just using that as an example. We grow out of that. The same thing has to happen in sports where you are a higher achieving athlete. You need to grow out of this believing in myself delusionally. What you believe in is the evidence. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to tell you a story. Let's say you're a high school player and you're a younger player and you're a good player and you're on the team and you see on the schedule, holy smokes, the next game we get Big Billy Hardthrower coming into town. And you've heard about Big Billy Hardthrower. He's mean. He's 17, he's already shaven. He's all these rumors about him dating a 40-year-old woman, and he throws 1,000 miles, all that stuff. So though, that he's going to toe the mound in about a week, and he throws 95 miles an hour. So do you believe that you're going to hit 95 miles an hour? Do you just lay awake at night thinking, as Johnny Hitter going, Big Billy Hardthrower is coming to town, so I just have to believe. I have to sort this out and really believe and believe. No. What you do is you get the coach and you go to the cage and you set that machine up. And you say, Coach, Big Billy Hardthrower is coming to town. Johnny Hitter wants to get him. Set that machine up on what I'm going to see and let's get to work. And here's what's going to happen. Every one of you is going to happen the same way. He's going to set the machine on 95. He's going to have big bucket of balls. And the first couple of days, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're not going to foul one off. It'll be awful. But then on day 2, maybe day 3, you catch a couple good. Ooh, what was that? and you start discovering, okay, I can shorten my swing now. Take a little away from the back, add that to the finish. And then the third day or the fourth day, you catch a couple good ones. Now you kind of start figuring it out over this body of work, over these repetitions. And finally, the day before the game, you're getting 95 and you're putting the barrel on it in the cage. See, that's evidence. That's evidence that you can infer by simulating his fastball. Okay, I can hit that in the cage. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you can hit it in the game, but it is a lot closer to hitting him in the game than just sitting up at night believing in yourself. See, our belief is based off our evidence. And then maybe you've got a senior in that lineup and he's not doing what you're doing, but he was 3 for 4 off Big Billy Hardthrower last year. He knows he can get Big Billy Hardthrower because he already proved it. That's evidence. You see where I'm going with this? Does it make sense? Belief is based off the simulation that you can create, that you can infer to hit Big Billy Hardthrower, or I got his tail last year. I can base that on I can get him again this year. It's always based off evidence. That's where our belief as athletes stems from. That's why we put in the work. Now, cool bridge, huh? The work part, the hard work part, I know what they say. I understand they're talking about you got to really go after it and work hard. That's not accurate. That is inaccurate. I know people that I went to school with and went to college with, and they worked their tail off. They didn't go anywhere. Hard work doesn't guarantee you anything. My washing machine right over there in that laundry room works its tail off every week, but it don't go nowhere out of that laundry room. It stays right there. So hard work is part of it when hard work is required. Then there's calibrated work, that the calibrated work works off the result, and then we back into the workload. Let me explain. When you're younger and you're developing, it's really about lots of volume because your body doesn't know how to repeat that lead arm, that back arm, the head still, the contact points. That's high volume. That's what we're looking for in younger players, taking lots of repetitions, especially in the real young kids. We don't talk to kids about very fine motor control stuff. When we're in Little League. We don't talk about that at all because they're not even in a stage where their body can operate in fine motor control. Not to mention the fact that there are growth spurts you have to take in consideration. So all the coordination you build in fine motor control, fielding, swinging, all that, when they hit a growth spurt, it goes away. And you have to relearn that. Now, do you set all the way back? No, you don't. You set about halfway back, you have to relearn it again. But the point is this, when you're learning your swing, when you're learning your pitching mechanics, when you're learning your fielding mechanics, it's high volume, not worried about the outcome. We don't worry about the outcome. We're just worried about the movements, getting the movements down. So, okay, now it's a swing with balance. Now it's a swing that's under control. Now it's a swing that can generate force ascending instead of swinging from the back out of his hiney, he can generate force at contact and finish. Same way with the pitcher. Instead of jumping down the rubber, he can put force on it right at the end where it's safe on the arm and he can control it. That's when we really start now shifting from higher volume to a more calibrated approach where we're working on the outcome. Now I'll bring back the story that I talked about. The belief with Johnny Hitter against Big Billy Hardthrower, Johnny Hitter was putting a lot of work in. He was getting a lot of swings in because he had to figure out how to shorten his swing to get the barrel out. Then I gave an example of that senior hitter that got Big Billy. He was 3 for 4 with a double on him last year. He can hit that guy. What kind of work does he put in? Does he put in mass volume? No, of course. He does not put in mass volume. He works in a very calibrated approach so that he is looking for the outcome. Set the machine up on 95. I'm going to take 10 swings. 7 are going to be right on the button. He takes a bad swing. He steps out. Nope. not taking two bad swings in a row. He makes the adjustment, calibrating himself. He makes the adjustment, steps in, boom, gets the next one. So he's really working in low volume, but really keeping an eye on the outcome, what comes off the bat. That's a much more seasoned senior hitter. When you're younger, it's much more volumized. When you're getting into that next level stuff, it's really about the outcome. So you'll calibrate the work that you put in so that it generates a hit, fielding, throwing a ball across a diamond, throwing a strike in the seventh inning, whatever it may be. So the workload isn't always work hard. It calibrates so that you can get to an outcome. Let me give you another example. And this is a bit of a rude awakening for freshmen going to college. And it happens in a lot of pro programs as well. Good college programs, if you think of the college season as a triangle, this down here is the summer. We're not going to talk about this. This is the fall off season and the spring competitive season. So these two parts right here. When a freshman comes into college, and good high school programs will do this as well, when you first get there, you're in high volume. You're in swing load. So the first month of the season, we're hitting off the tee. We're hitting on soft toss. I mean, we are grinding. It's a lot of swings, typically more than they ever took in their life. It's 1,000 swings a week, off the tee, off the straight toss, off the machine. And we are really trying to get that body used to a larger swing load. That's also when they put on some muscle and are able to really settle into their hitting physique. The reason we do that is because you go from 25 games to 60 games. You need to get conditioned early on, shaping the body as a hitter, as a pitcher, as a fielder, so you can tolerate now, instead of one season, you've got a whole building season to get to a very high level competition. So when you come into college, you've got that first month, it's typically real high swing load. We don't care so much about the outcome. We care, but we don't care so much about the outcome. It's really getting the swings in. Then that starts to taper, or what's called a ladder. We'll start laddering down, calibrating down when we're getting toward the spring. Now we've already got the soreness out, the body is working, the swing, no problem, he's big and strong, and now we're working on hitting behind runners. Now we're working our two-strike approach. Now we're starting to take fewer and fewer swings, and we're really looking at that outcome. And that goes all the way into Christmas, into January after the Christmas break, and that shrinking of load and concentration on outcome becomes your pregame. I just gave you the secret to college and pro ball. That big swing load, all that stuff you did, as it tapers down, becomes your pregame. Now, a subset of that also, as hitters come in, every hitter is coached differently. And the reason why every hitter is coached differently is because hitters have different roles. Fast guys have a little bit different role than a 7 guy and a 3 guy and a 4 guy. But more than that is hitters have different abilities. Here's an easy example. Altuve is little. His mechanics are similar to an Aaron Judge, but how he uses them are different because his body size is different. You can't coach an Altuve the same way you coach a Judge. Their mechanics operate differently because their size of their body is different. They also have different roles in the lineup. So what ends up happening as you are working with these hitters in the fall, you're finding out that, okay, Altuve, and I'm just making this up, Altuve, he likes to slide his hips a little bit and it jams himself. So in that high volume, and as we taper down, we're working on head center, head center, head center. We're really working that in high volume, and then we're calibrating that into execution. Maybe Judge might bite his swing off when he was younger, not leave the barrel long. Okay, Judge, you got to stay long through it. And these are little nuances that each hitter has. Everybody's got them that they work on. As they work in that volume tapering down, that becomes their pregame, and so they'll have that little thing that they work on every game. Whatever it is, maybe Altuve puts a bat between his legs and that's his center point. Maybe you've got a Judge and he'll put 3 balls out in front of a contact point and that's his visual aid for getting through the ball. Whatever that is, that becomes a part of that 1, 2, 3 bucket pregame. And that's how they take that volumized training, that workload, shrink it from working hard to working toward an outcome, and then carrying that into the spring. Here's what I want you to do. I don't want you, and if you're a parent listening to this, don't tell your kid you got to believe in yourself and you have to work hard. That's wrong. What I want you to replace it with is you've got to believe in what you practice, so that practice has now meaning. You can actually say, did you practice well enough to win a game? Do you really think that was good? Because what I saw was sloppy. Tomorrow, show me crisp. Use words like that. Show me crisp practice, crisp swings. So you believe that you can win in that game based off your practice. So you tell your kid, don't believe in yourself, believe in what you do at practice, day in and day out. Now the hard work part, parents and kids, you have to understand you back into the work you need to put in. Here's what that means. You have to look at last year's data. And I had a lesson on this that I talked about that I put on the YouTube channel. If you hit 150 last year in your league, you're going to have to put in some hard work, aren't you? Yeah, because your swing right now is not good enough to hit 300 in your league. Now, if you hit 300 in your league and now you want to take it to 350 or you want to generate more power, now you look at what you did last year and you can back into a goal that you want to work on this year. So if you're a 150 hitter that you need to get over 200, you're going to have to take a lot of swings. A lot of swings. That swing itself needs volume. It needs hard work. And remember, for us, it's not work hard one day and take 3 days off. It's working hard all the time. 4 days a week. Look at me. 4 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, however you want to do it. It's 4 days a week. No more than 5, but no less than 4. That goes on for at least 30 days to get the swing to where it is second nature and you're not thinking about where your lead arm is and where your back arm is, and you work on that one thing that you do wrong that you can fix. Maybe your head's sliding, maybe you roll early, maybe you're not long through contact. That takes volume. You can't just tell a hitter, well, leave the barrel through the ball longer, because remember, you can't see yourself hit. You can only feel yourself hit, and that feel is developed through repetitions. Now, if you're the other hitter, that you say, okay, I need to hit for more power, I need to hit more doubles or whatever, now you have a more specific goal. Now you're taking a more calibrated approach. You've got a good swing, now you're working toward an outcome. I need to hit it harder. I need to hit it to center field. Maybe I need to work on the breaking ball. So what I want you to do is look at last year's stats, last season's stats, and determine the work you need to put in. If I hit 150, I'm going to have to get my swing squared away. That's going to be a lot of work 4 days a week. If I hit 350 and I want to hit 400, or I want to go out there and hit 10 home runs or whatever, now you know exactly what to work on. Your volume is less, but you're really working on that specific outcome. That's what I want you to do. And parents, remember, don't believe in what they say, believe in how they practice. That's what we do with belief and work. Now, as we're talking about this work into belief that I can simulate and then infer that I can hit Big Billy Hardthrower, because I simulated that in the cage, you have to understand that is a little, there's faith behind that. It's not, I haven't done it yet. Okay, I haven't done, it's not evidenced yet. It's inference that I simulated. Now, once I go onto the field, when Big Billy Hardthrower comes, and I do go 3 for 4 off of him, that's no longer belief. Now, that is what's called confidence. So you go from something that's faith-based, where I believe I can do this because I've simulated, I can infer, now I've actually done it. Now I'm confident not only can I hit Big Billy Hardthrower, I can hit hard throwers. And that really takes an athlete that is an achieving athlete, it leaps them forward. It leaps them a level. That confidence from the evidence that they showed by beating that kid on the field. It is a huge deal for us, especially, again, those high achieving athletes. Now, there's also a thing that is false confidence. These posers, and I want to talk about this a little bit because this is something that you will definitely run across. These kids or these college and even these pro guys that'll beat their chest and pop off and run their mouth about what good athletes they are and how they can hit Big Billy Hard Thrower, not a problem, but you've never seen them actually do it. They haven't shown they can do it. They're in this delusional kind of thing, and they're very confident, almost to the point where they're indignant about it. It's not a belief. They want you to believe that, oh, they can absolutely do that. That is no problem. That is false confidence. And here's where that comes from. We see this a lot in kids all over the place, where they would rather get in trouble than look bad. They'd rather lie about something than look bad. They want their image to be, they want you to believe they can. They want to create that image for you to believe that they are that confident, but they've never shown it. They're trying to create an image, and this comes out of incredible levels of insecurity and fear, to be perfectly honest. They really don't want to face Big Billy Hard Thrower because they fear they might get embarrassed, and that would crush their image. So they would rather pull a hamstring a day before Big Billy Hard Thrower. Well, we call it a quinjury. Is it an injury or are you quitting? It's somewhere in between. They don't want to look bad. They'd rather lie. They'd rather fake an injury. They want to protect that image, and that comes from fear. Now, everyone has an image in sports, and the image is important, don't get me wrong, and I'm not talking about an image to sell shoes or drinks or anything like that, but you're going to have an image. Now, if you're going to be a poser, which I do not want you to be, someone that fears getting embarrassed, that image is transparent. It's see-through. No one believes them. And they can beat their chest all they want and talk about how they're this big stud and, oh, I would have kicked his butt if I wasn't injured. Well, you didn't. The image they're creating, the image that they think you're seeing, is an image of them doing it. It's not. It's transparent. There's no color to it. It's see-through. But when you are confidently going out there, putting the necessary work in, simulating it, okay, I believe I can do this, and you actually go do it. Now that image now has color. You've just colorized it. It is 4K. I went and kicked Big Billy Hard Thrower's tail 3 for 4 with a double. That's the image that everybody can see because there's evidence behind it. That poser on the other side that would rather lie than look bad, the image that he thinks is creating is great, but it's not. It's completely transparent and see-through. So you're going to have a choice out there with your image. You can lie and have a transparent image that people can see right through because you'd rather get your you'd rather lie than look bad, or you can go put the work in and face that challenge. May get your butt kicked. You may get got a couple of times, but if you stay after it, you're going to colorize that image, and people are now going to look at you and say, that guy can prove it. That guy can go hit Big Billy Hard Thrower because he put the work in and he proved it on the field. That's the image that you want to create.